Hello and welcome to the John Ark Show. Today's episode is called Flying Cars. We're also going to be answering viewer questions during this show. Before we begin, I want to encourage you to subscribe, like, comment, and follow us. We're going to have a lot of great celebrity interviews coming up. So remember to click on the notification bell so you can be notified every time we upload a new episode. I'd also like to tell you about a service called HollywoodIsCalling.com. It's a great service that allows you to purchase live phone calls from more than 100 celebrities. A live 15-second call is $19.95, and a live 30-second call is $29.95. So give it a try. HollywoodIsCalling.com. Now, let's get started. Question number one. Can you tell us about flying cars and if they will be seen in use soon? Well, Volkswagen has announced that they're going to be doing a feasibility study on flying cars in China. They're also going to be exploring the idea of working with partners on the idea in China and elsewhere. Flying cars have always had a magical appeal for people who have seen them in the movies, on TV shows, and even in artist renditions. But the reality is far different. First of all, as Elon Musk pointed out recently, the amount of air your engines would have to move in order to raise a car into the sky and propel it forward would be so great that the noise would be deafening. If you think the sound of cars with gas engines driving by is annoying, then that is nothing compared to the sound of flying cars with their jet or fan or gas engines blasting tons of air around in order to keep them in the sky. Another problem with flying cars is that they would require additional training, which would be very expensive. Think of the amount of air traffic control needed to direct thousands of cars an hour flying through just one intersection, and you'll have some idea of the challenges involved. Here's one more thing for you to consider. What do you think will happen when two flying cars smash into each other at high speed in the sky? How many homes, pedestrians, and innocent people down below would be destroyed when a couple of flying cars smash into each other, moving through the sky at 150 or 200 miles an hour, and then fall to the ground or to the buildings or to the people down below? Do you think it's even possible to survive an accident like that? I suspect most people would not survive. Next question. Whatever happened to most of the Motown artists, singers, and performers? Well, most of the Motown performers and singers have fallen into two categories. The first group is comprised of those singers who were able to continue performing for many years after they worked for Motown, or they owned the music rights they created either during Motown or afterwards. That first group did well financially and were able to keep making money for years afterwards, and as a result, they enjoyed life. The second group of Motown artists or singers were those that did not own the rights to their music or were not able to continue touring after Motown. A lot of those people living in that second group struggled terribly, and some of them essentially died broke. There are even rumors of some Motown artists being so broke that they died and were buried in unmarked graves because they couldn't even afford a headstone. Stories like that are gut-wrenching. Now, the music created by Motown artists is some of the most beautiful music ever created. But unfortunately, some of those artists were not able to generate the kind of financial security for themselves that the other artists were able to create or benefit from. Next question. A mysterious Russian buyer has bought the most expensive home in Palm Beach, Florida, and paid nearly $140 million in cash for it. Can you tell us more about that transaction? Well, here's what I've heard. In 2008, Russian oligarch Dmitry Rybolovlev bought it for $95 million. He razed the house, tore it to the ground, and sold 3 adjacent lots for the combined price of $108 million. Now, the 21,000 square foot spec house that now sits on one of those lots features a pool, and it also has a guest house. Now, it was under contract less than 24 hours after a mysterious buyer toured the home. The buyer of the house was represented by celebrity broker and reality TV star Ryan Serhan. Now, real estate transactions at this level tend to be cloaked in secrecy. Uh, the homes the home's paperwork tends to be hidden by shell companies that conceal the name of the true owner. Also, a lot of buyers at this financial level are extremely concerned about privacy and security, especially when they pay cash for a home. There is this general belief by the public that anyone who can afford to pay $140 million for a house like this with cash must have a secret vault in the basement with billions of dollars hidden in it. That's almost never true. What is far more likely is that the secret buyer just doesn't want to be targeted by financial predators and opportunists looking to scam them. He's also probably very interested in establishing permanent residency in Florida so they can avoid state income taxes that they may be paying somewhere else. Number 4, how is the legal pot business doing? Is it still attractive from a financial viewpoint? Well, that depends on what part of the pot business you want to get into. One thing you have to keep in mind is that everyone is getting into the weed business now. Celebrities, corporate conglomerates, hedge fund guys, Wall Street guys, mom and pops. Everybody is looking to strike while the iron is hot. I think that most of the small and mid-sized entrepreneurs will eventually get wiped out when the Fortune 1000 companies decide to move into the legal weed business. Now, I'm even hearing that Mexican drug cartels are making a massive push to establish a legal pot business in the US. If you think that Fortune 1000 companies are well financed and able to move considerable resources into this industry, then just wait and see what the Mexican drug cartels are capable of doing. First of all, they have unlimited financial resources to do it. Secondly, they already have decades of experience with the illegal weed business, and using that experience to move into the legal pot business will give them a serious competitive advantage. Third, most banks will still not do business with weed companies, which makes normal banking impossible. So, what do all these weed businesses do with their cash? Well, most of them hide it. Next question. Who makes the most reliable and dependable cars on the market? I'm tired of buying cars and then spending tons of money to repair them every year or two. What do you think? There is absolutely no doubt in my mind that Lexus and Toyota make the most dependable and reliable cars out there. That's one of the many reasons that they are able to retain such a high resale value for those cars. It's also why you so rarely see a Toyota or a Lexus in an auto repair shop. They very rarely break down. The beautiful thing about Lexus and Toyota cars is that you can put the key in and just drive away. No fuss, no muss, no warning lights, no weird noises coming from the engine. They start and they drive away. When I see how much money most people spend each year repairing other types of vehicles, I'm astounded. It seems they just suck the money out of other people's wallets. But that's rarely the case with Toyotas. Next question. What do you think of using Elon Musk's Starlink internet service? Do you think it works? Everything I've seen thus far seems to indicate that the people who sign up for Starlink are really enjoying that service. Right now, it costs about $500 to join, plus the monthly fee, but the internet speeds that most people are getting are very impressive. In fact, at times, they even over-deliver. There's something else you have to remember. A lot of people living in highly remote areas have no other options. There is literally no one else offering them internet service where they live out in the middle of nowhere. For them, Starlink does the impossible. It gives them an internet connection, and it does it really well. If you're living in some remote wilderness and you desperately need a connection, then Starlink appears to be exceeding people's expectations. Next question. Do you think this is a good time to get back into the bar or nightclub business now that the economy appears to be reopening? Well, that depends on the state you're considering doing it in and what kind of bar or nightclub you're thinking of getting into. One thing you have to keep in mind, and that is that this could all happen again in a year or two. And if it does, what will happen to your business? Theoretically, the government could shut bars down again and put them out of business for another year. Could you survive that if that happens? Also, what if a customer claims they caught the virus in your bar and decides to sue you? That might be a very expensive lawsuit to fight. So, with that, I want to thank our viewers for watching and tell you that we're going to have more great celebrity interviews and more breaking news stories coming up in the near future. So, we want to encourage you to subscribe to our channel and remember to click on the notification bell so you can get notified every time we post a new story. Thank you very much.